Hi guys, welcome to today's class. So we are going to be drafting our basic bodice pattern, and here are the tools we need for our pattern making. Okay, so get them, they are very important. And also we need in our body measurements. For our body measurements, we need our bust, waist, shoulder to bust point, nipple to nipple, front half length, back half length, shoulder slant, and of course the difference of your back and front half length. Please take note of the places are divided and do your maths, very important. Okay, so to start our pattern drafting for our basic bodies, please use your pencil, but I'll be using my marker for emphasis so you can see clearly. Okay, but use your pencil so you can erase when you make mistakes. So to start with, we're going to be marking half our bust measurement because that's the widest part of our measurements. Okay, so mark your bust divided by 2. For mine is 16.5 because the bust is 33. So whatever you get as yours, please mark it. I'm just marking it across so it will be equal. Now we are going to mark our front half length. Okay, it could be 16, 17 or more for you. Okay, so just make sure you take your measurement. If you don't know how to take your measurements, stay tuned. Please watch my video on measurements. Okay, so I'm going to be connecting those dots. Okay, so we're going to be getting the midpoint of what we have here. We're going to be dividing it into 2. Okay, so watch what I'm doing. I'll fold my tape into 2 so that I can get my midpoint and I can easily just mark it. So you can go ahead and do yours like that and then mark it all across. So guys, please like, share, comment on my post, very important. I need it to be able to know I'm making some impact. Okay, thank you. So we're moving over to our drafting. Okay, for the front we're going to be drafting from this side, but for the back from this side. All right, so now I'm going to be placing my shoulder measurement, my shoulder divided by 2. That's what I'm marking. For mine is 7, yours could be 8 or 7.5 depending on what you have. Now I'm marking 1 inch. That will be for our shoulder slant. Okay, then from there I'm going to also still place my shoulder divided by 2 measurement. Okay, now because I want a straight line up, so I'll measure all what I have there from that 1 inch. I got 8 inches, so I'm going to mark 8 inches all across because I want a squared line. Okay, I want a perfect squared line. So go ahead and do yours that way. Start from the 1 inch line, mark it and square it. All right, so I'm going to get my neckline right now, and to get my neckline I'll place my shoulder slant. Okay, so my shoulder slant was 4 inches, so whatever you have as your shoulder slant, just mark it, and that's what I marked. Okay, so the remaining part becomes your neckline. And for my neck depth, I'm using 3 inches. It depends on how deep you want your neck to be. Okay, you can want it to be deeper, you mark it. Okay, but for a basic bodice it's usually 3. Okay, so connect it with my pattern master this way. Now I'm going to connect my shoulder slant. All right, just watch how I'm doing it and follow across. Okay, follow along rather. All right, so I'm going to get the midpoint of my shoulder. You can see what I'm doing. I got the midpoint of that place. Then I went in by 1 inch. You can do 0.75, you can do 1 inch. Okay, it's all okay. I went in by 1 inch. Then I connect it with my pattern master. Just watch how I'm connecting. Make sure that the points are meeting. Okay, I'm just squaring this out entirely, so make sure that the points are meeting. Just watch and see what I'm doing. So when you're making yours, you do it this way. Now if you don't have a pattern master, you can just use your free hand to do something, but please, this is a pattern making class, so you need your pattern master. Okay, very important. Now we are going to be marking our shoulder to bust point. Okay, or you can call it shoulder to nipple as well. So mark your shoulder to nipple or shoulder to bust point and then draw a line across. Now from that point, we're going to be marking our nipple to nipple. Okay, whatever you have as your nipple to nipple, just mark it all across. That's what I'm marking. My nipple to nipple was 6, so divided by 2, that's what I'm marking. Okay, so you draw the line to meet all the points. Then I'm going to place my darts. I'm using 1/2 inch on both sides. Okay, if you're making for someone bigger, you can use 0.75 on both sides. All right, okay, so I'm connecting it. Just make sure you follow through all the process that I am following through, and you're going to arrive at a very perfect pattern bodice. Okay, upper bodice. Now we're going over to our back. Remember I said we're marking from this part. Okay, so from that part now we are going to place our shoulder measurements, which is what I'm doing here, which is 7. Place our shoulder measurement, then place your neckline, okay, which is 3 inches by 1 inch for the back depth. Okay, now you mark your 1 inch for shoulder slant. We're just repeating what we did at the front at that shoulder part. Okay, so now with our pattern master, I'm going to be doing what? I'm going to be connecting it. So just watch how I'm connecting it and do yours that way too. Okay, and that's it. Now we are going to be doing what we did at the armhole too. So we are going to get that line there for our armhole. So from there I'm marking my shoulder divided by 2 also, just like I did before. Okay, so that line can go straight all across to the back. All right, I mark 7 inches again, but remember that we did 1 inch shoulder slant and we need a very much straight line. Okay, if you just mark it, it will be slanted, so I added back that 1 inch, so it will be 8 inches all across, and we are going to have a perfect straight line. All right, so go ahead and join the points, and that's it. See, the line is very straight. Okay, so now we're going over to the next part, which is to get our nipple to nipple. Again, we're marking our nipple to nipple for our darts also. So mark your nipple to nipple, and then of course connect it just like we did at the front. So you see the process is quite very easy. Once you're able to do the front, you're getting the back. And I'll still use my 1/2 inch on both sides, and then I'll connect it. Remember I said if you're making for someone who is much bustier, you can use 0.75 instead for the person. Okay, now that's it, and we are almost getting there. But we are going to of course make our armhole curve. Okay, so what we are going to do right now is to get our shoulder line too. Remember we are making a squared line. Okay, so that's why I'm marking my shoulder divided by 2, and I will connect it so it will all be a square. Remember that was what we did at the front, so we are repeating that process at the back just to get a perfect straight line. Now we're going to also find the midpoint like we did at the front. Okay, but here we're going to be marking 0.5. At the back, at the front we did 1 or 0.75, but at the back we did 0.5 because the back is narrower, it's not that deep as the front. And then with my pattern master, I'm going to be doing what? Connecting it too. Okay, to meet all the points. Just look at what I'm doing, so that when you're doing yours, you're going to do something as beautiful as what I'm doing too. You can see it's already coming out looking perfect. Oh my god, I can't wait. Please, when you do this, don't forget to share with me. Okay, it's very very important to make me know I'm impacting knowledge. Now we're going to be placing our measurements. So I'm placing my waist divided by 4. Okay, remember we did that of 0.5 inch, which is 1 inch, 0.5 which is 1 inch, so I added back that 1 inch. Okay, that's just basically what I did there. So place your waist divided by 4 plus that 1 inch for the dart that you took, 0.5, 0.5, and then just connect the line. Okay, and that makes it for our front waistline. Now for our back waistline, we're going to do the same. Place your waist divided by 4, then add back the dart that you took, which is 1 inch, and connect it. So what you're doing to the front is what you're doing to the back as well. It's just that simple, guys. You can do this, okay? Very, very simple and easy to follow. Now remember, we have our back and front length difference. Our back was 15, our front was 16, so the difference was 1 inch. 16 minus 15 was 1 inch, so that's what I marked there. I just took that 1 inch from the waistline up, okay, and then I'm connecting it. So now check your darts to ensure that it's up to 1 inch. I've checked mine is just about 1 inch, but if yours is not up to 1 inch, please remark it and then reconnect it back. It's just as simple as that. Or you can pause your darts after getting your back half length, then you can place your darts. It's still the same thing, okay? So the difference we had, you can see, is now the back is now shorter, okay? So we are going to place that difference so that the two sides can align. So mark that difference of your front and back half length at your bust point, your shoulder to bust point. Like, just look at what I'm doing. That's my shoulder to bust point. Now I just took down 1 inch and then I'm connecting it back to our bust point, okay? So that's just it. Basically, that's just it. Okay, so this is our back, I'm labeling it, and this is our front, and our pattern is perfectly complete. So we go ahead and cut this out. Now watch what I'm doing while cutting. As I'm cutting, I didn't cut exactly on that part. I'm going to go down a little because we're supposed to throw our dart. Okay, so see what I'm doing. I had some excess there, then went back to blend it. Okay, we are still going to be cutting that off. I'll show us how to do that. Okay, it's called throwing your dart. Now some pattern people omit this process, but it's wrong to omit it, so please don't omit it. Do it all across your dart points. Okay, now I've gone ahead to cut. Unfortunately, my video didn't capture it, but I'm going to show us how I was able to throw my darts and cut off those excesses we had at the darts part. Okay, I don't know what happened to my video. I'm so sorry, guys, but you can see I'm just showing you. So pinch the one end of the dart and make it to meet at the other end. Okay, so that's it. Then repeat the same too at the bust or side dart. Okay, pinch from one end of the dart to the other end. Then for the back, I added my zip allowance. Okay, now what I did was, this is my initial line where we drafted from, so I added 1 inch up, and then at the down I added 0.5 on both sides. That is so we can eliminate our zipper bulge. If you don't understand this part, don't worry, I'm still going to be making more videos, so you're definitely going to be understanding how to throw that, and of course add zipper allowance. And of course, to through my dart, I just pinched from one end and then to the other end, and then I cut it off. And that was it, guys. Thank you for staying.